I'm showing this video to my subscribers to illustrate a point that I've been making about how establishment GOP media folks like Ben Shapiro and Steven Crowder and Blaze TV and Fox News, how they distract conservatives and the right with nonsense, blinding you while real damage is being done to this country. Notice how there was a lot of focus on this gun rights, right? Shall not be infringed, shall not be infringed. A lot of people talk a lot of stuff on the right about the Constitution, and the founding fathers and traditions. And I keep telling my subscribers that the stuff that I see them getting all concerned about just so happens to be the stuff that the establishment wants you to be distracted by. Right? It's the Republican talking points, the things that the Republican Party wants to distract you with, so you don't realize how they're playing you for fools. You're voting in these corrupt people, just like the Democrats, and they're not doing anything to make your life better. They're not giving you health care. They're not increasing wages so you can pay your bills, have some kind of savings. All they're doing is playing games with culture wars. And it seems like just about everything that I hear people on the right getting all worked up about, it seems to come straight down from the elites in the Republican Party. There is a big problem with children being molested by their teachers. I don't hear any outrage coming from the right about that. Instead, I hear them talking about CRT and grooming, but it's not actually grooming. And now, here we have a violation of our Fourth Amendment rights, and I don't hear anything coming from the GOP, and therefore nothing from their mouthpieces like Ben Shapiro. So while you guys are worried about CRT and whatever nonsense, your Fourth Amendment rights are being stripped away from you. Think about that for a second. Is it a coincidence that you're more worried about the very same things that the GOP wants you to worry about? The claim is that, oh, because you love the Constitution? Why is right-wing media not talking about this? Why do they only talk about things that seem to benefit the Republican Party? What benefits the Republican Party is attacks on the left, attacks on the Democrats. You can't pin this on the Democrats because it's a conservative Supreme Court that's doing this. So they say nothing. And that adds to your pool of ignorance of the things that you're not aware of, because the media you're consuming is busy distracting you with nonsense so that you can keep voting for corrupt politicians, same as the left does, at least those on the left who vote for Democrats. Did a Border Patrol agent rough you up? The Supreme Court fails to see how judges can help. If it refuses to live up to its constitutional obligations, the court should at least have the courage to say federal officials can never be sued for violations of constitutional rights. The Supreme Court just dealt a huge blow to a federal police accountability in a decision released Wednesday. It held that a Border Patrol agent is entitled to blanket immunity from suit simply because he happens to work for the federal government. The court's ruling in Egbert versus Boley means that nearly all, if not all, federal officials are effectively above the law. If they can violate your constitutional rights, even intentionally, there's absolutely nothing you can do about it unless and until Congress gives you a permission slip to enforce the Constitution. At the heart of the lawsuit are allegations that Border Patrol agent Eric Egbert violated innkeeper's Robert Rule's Fourth Amendment right when he allegedly lifted him off the ground and threw him against an SUV while attempting to check the immigration status of Boley's guests. Then, in a violation of Boley's First Amendment rights, Egbert allegedly had the hotel audited by multiple state and federal agencies to punish Boley for registering a complaint.
Conservative lawmakers are pushing for government spending to protect Justice Kavanaugh in his home. Justice Kavanaugh is working overtime to give impunity to lawmakers who would enter your house and assault you and your family. So much for the land of the free. Now, Robbie, I was very concerned to see this holding, but even more concerned to see how disproportionately it seemed that liberals were concerned about this. And I heard nary a peep about this pretty significant constitutional violation of one of the Bills of Rights. on conservative Twitter. I don't know. Did you see something about this? Am I biased in my perception because of my internet bubble that I live in?
No, I mean, what do you want me to say? I completely agree with you. I agree with your analysis. I was beyond disturbed when law enforcement violates people's rights. First, they shouldn't violate people's rights. And then when they do wrongly violate people's rights, they should be held accountable. They should be held structurally accountable and individually accountable.
It comes to elites getting their way, protection of elite property, which is what a lot of this is about. Over and over again, it's qualified immunity for me, but not for thee. Whether it comes down to vaccines, whether it comes down to gun manufacturers, when there's money and lobbying efforts behind it, they can change the laws to make sure that they don't play this by the same rules as everybody else. And now we're seeing it at the highest level with some of these federal agents that have the broadest authority to affect your lives. This is something the founding fathers really anticipated. We all learned in grade school about British soldiers quartering an American. Do you live in New York, Chicago, Seattle, Houston, San Diego, Richmond, Charleston, New Orleans, Cleveland, Buffalo, DC? Do you live in the entire state of Florida? Well, 60% of the American population lives within 100 miles of the U.S. border, which means they live within Border Patrol authority. That's 60% of the population that has lost any constitutional protections against warrantless assault or home invasion by armed agents. While conservative pundits and politicians are working overtime to make voters afraid of trans women and surgical masks, they're taking a sledgehammer to foundational constitutional rights. While some conservatives worry about whether background checks or red flag laws mean the end of American freedom, they are completely ignoring this fundamental assault on our most basic protections against intrusions from the state.
This is another example of why I say that it is nonsensical, those pro-gun people who talk about guns are to defend us against tyranny. Maybe a very long time ago, but this generation is too plugged in to a massive propaganda machine on the left and on the right to even know what tyranny looks like. When tyranny gets here, those with the guns, supposedly to defend against tyranny, will use those guns against fellow Americans in protection of the tyrannical, corrupt politicians that would choose to exploit us. I am very, very sure that that is how it will play out. Donald Trump has demonstrated that. A clever, smart Donald Trump type character can easily manipulate Americans, whether on the left or the right, into whatever nonsensical ideas they want them to believe in. And then, just like on January 6th, where all these people came trying to defend their president, the best president ever, the guns will not be used against tyranny. It is used for tyranny. The only way we can use our guns to defend against tyranny is we have to fully embrace reality and reject propaganda and partisan media. As long as people continue to watch the toxic trash that you see in partisan left-wing and right-wing media, thinking that somehow you are better than me, that you can consume this stuff and not have this toxic stuff just ruin your brain. Like, I know the tricks that they're doing, and I don't have the confidence to sit there watching too much of it because I know that I'm human, and if you keep watching the same stuff over and over again, like, these guys are just leading you guys off a cliff. I'm going to put a link to the article in the description. You guys can take a look at it for yourself. But as long as most Americans remain in the matrix, red pill and blue pill, two simulations, you will remain victimized by the elites. They will continue to exploit you and take advantage of you, distract you, and have you focus on your fellow Americans instead of on them, while they get richer and richer and richer and richer. Unplug. This is a Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well.